Hello and welcome to Voice of Rio Grande. I'm Dr. Donna Mitchell, Dean of the College of Professional and Technical Studies, along with my co-host, Dr. Heather Duda, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. I flipped up there. And we are going to be interviewing 3 students today who will be telling us about their community service projects, so stay tuned. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
I'm well. What a beautiful day, even though it's raining.
You know, I don't mind good rain in the spring because I know what's coming. Spring weather and wonderful flowers.
I saw that the trees actually have little leaves on them.
Yes.
So I was so excited when I walked here. And what a time to be on campus at Rio Grande.
Oh my gosh. I think once we hit spring break, it's just nonstop for the next 8 weeks. I know that in my college alone, and I'm not going to do justice to all the events, so I'll just tell you next week we've got 2 exciting events coming up. Dr. Kent Williams is going to be giving his retirement lecture next Thursday afternoon on Dylan Thomas, and then the weekend of April 13th and 14th at the REL Theater, we're going to have a student production of Twelfth Night, which I'm really excited about, and maybe we'll get some pictures on next month of that.
This is such a busy time. We have honors programs, we have recognition ceremonies, we have pinning ceremonies, we have retirement dinners. It's hard to keep up with everything, but you never get bored in spring term at Rio.
Not at all. And you know, in and amongst all of that and the students with the final exams and graduation approaching, do you know that we have some programs on campus, some courses, and some students who are actually fitting in time to do community outreach?
I think that's wonderful.
I don't know how they find the time, but I do know that we're going to get to hear about a couple of those classes today.
I'm looking forward to it.
So, the first group we're going to hear from is Dr. Gulati's multicultural education class. Would you two both introduce yourselves?
My name's Stephanie. I am an early education and intervention specialist major. I am set to graduate in fall of 2019.
And what brought you to Rio?
I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I'm an older student, and I was inspired by my son's kindergarten teacher. It just really set a fire in my heart, and I'm out to get it.
Wonderful.
I am Mackennah Cole. I'm a junior at Rio. Well, I'm set to graduate in the spring of 2019, and I have lived in Gallia County my whole life, so in choosing a college, I really just felt like Rio Grande was the best option to stay close to home and be able to be around my family still.
And you chose education?
Yes.
Because you also have a passion to teach, or was it something else that brought you to the program?
I really enjoy working with the children and working with students and seeing them get and understand something is such an exciting time. I also had a lot of great teachers that inspired me and pushed me in this direction.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the class you two are taking this semester that has inspired the outreach project, and then we'll get to the project.
Okay, it's multicultural relations. In the class we have to do a community project, and we all voted and all came to an agreement that this project would really go with our major the best. It just made sense. It's a children's book drive, and we're getting donations. Any donation, really. Children in grades read at all different kinds of levels, and we can take cash donations and everything. We've got drop boxes and buildings here on campus, and you can email our professor and set up something. We can pick it up. We can do anything.
How many students are in your class?
Maybe 20 or so.
Yeah,
so
about
you have
20.
a large group working on the project.
Yeah.
And what will you do with the books after you collect these books?
We plan to separate the books into, different groups, and we plan to deliver them to elementary schools in Vinton County, Meigs County, and Jackson County. That way the students have more books like in their classroom at different levels and varying levels, because obviously they're not all reading at the level that is in the classroom.
And have you had to empty the boxes yet? I know that they've been up for about a week or two around campus.
We've got books in a few boxes. We even got Gal Plus City Library involved, and they've got several. They said several boxes to donate. So we haven't seen what they've got, but we'll go pick up after whatever event they've got going on.
Yes, they have a book sale going on April 14th, and after that we're going to pick up the remainder of the books and have them for the classes as well.
Wonderful.
That's a great idea.
Now, what are your favorite children's books?
I like Shel Silverstein, the Giving Tree, and those books. I like stuff that rhymes. I like fun stuff. I don't know if you know, but Jeff Foxworthy has written a couple of books.
No.
And those are really funny.
My favorite book when I was younger was the Harry Potter series, and now I'd have to say I really enjoy reading, like, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie or A Very Hungry Caterpillar to the kids, because they seem to really enjoy those.
Again, with the rhyming and that. Donna, do you have a favorite children's book?
Well, you know, over the years, the books have changed. And as I bought books for my grandsons, Dr. Seuss books are books that are very popular with especially one grandson. He just absolutely loves Dr. Seuss.
Does he?
Of course, he's only 3, so that'll change as he gets older, I'm sure.
That's a good age to be reading those kind of books. I love to buy children's books for my nephews, and one of my favorites I actually picked up at the West Virginia Book Festival a couple of years ago. It's a West Virginia tale called Rocks in My Pocket, and that's a fun one. So tell us a little bit about why you were drawn to the age group. You talked about the inspiration for you becoming teachers. Why did you choose the specific age group that you've chosen to teach?
I just really enjoy the small kids. No, I mean that's really the only thing. I am going for my endorsement, so I'll have pre-K through 5th grade. So I'll have all that, but even so, I'd like the younger end of that. The innocence, I love it. Seeing their little light bulb come on and their eyes light up, I like that.
Is there a subject area that you really like to teach, or a content area?
I really like science. It's the one that you can really get into. You can get your hands on stuff, and I think that's where kids really connect, when they can get their hands dirty and whatever you're doing. Science is really easy to teach, and it's really fun to see them get those concepts.
Right. McKenna?
My goal is to teach probably pre-K through 1st. I really, like she said, I just love the younger kids and watching their eyes light up when they get something. And I really enjoy it. I don't have a good reason.
Do you have a specific subject area that you enjoy?
Mine's kind of weird. I enjoy phonics. I had a class this semester I had to do hours in a and teach a phonics lesson, and I really enjoy seeing them use things like the Electric Company on YouTube, those videos. I really enjoy watching them get up and dance to the phonics lesson, and they're learning and not realizing it.
I am really excited to hear that you know the Electric Company, because that is a great show, and I often hear people say, "What? I've never heard of that."
It's been around for a while.
It has.
I taught this semester with my 1st grade teacher. She taught me in 1st grade, and she's still using the same things she taught me to teach them, and I feel like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they're really getting it, and it's really fun to watch them get it.
So are you seeing, as well, both the two of you, but also your group, the class as a whole, are you seeing some long-term lessons that you're learning from this book drive, some things that you will put into practice as you go out into your professional lives? Is this sort of a one-time thing for you all, which I know can happen, but, or is there something there that you all talked about, I'm taking this with me as I move on?
I think something I'm taking with me is I didn't see this going very far. I hate to say that, but I am so surprised that we've gotten all of the support. We've gotten $50 already, which I've got 23 books in my cart on Scholastic, and I'm so excited about that. I can't believe that went that far, and I just, if you do something, people are going to get involved with it, and that's what's really taken me by surprise. It's getting so many people involved.
I'd have to say, just hearing all the teachers talk about what type of books they need, because it's really great to hear that, like, oh, we need higher level books because our students are just flying right through the chapter of books we have in our grade. So it's really great to know that they need higher level books and things like that to read, because they've already read everything they can read in their grade level.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what a higher level book is in case somebody wants to donate such books?
Well, I know in first grade, for example, they start on chapter books.
Okay.
And those chapter books consist of, like, the Magic Treehouse series or Captain Underpants or something like that. And a higher level book would be a more detailed story, more advanced vocabulary. The Little House on the Prairie series, something like that would be a higher level book for them that they're not used to seeing and they want to challenge themselves with. Anything that someone thinks would challenge them is just great.
So will these books be left in the classroom for the student to read while they're at school, or can they take these books home?
I'm not sure. I would love for them to be able to take them home, but we're just kind of going to hand them over to the schools and see what they do with them. Hopefully they get to take them home.
That'd be great. Your book drive is going on for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, right, until around the end of April. Are you seeing that there's a kind of book that you need more than the others? So are you seeing so far early on there's a lot of board books but not a lot of chapter books, or where do you see the need right now?
We have a lot of the pre-K and kindergarten and first grade books.
Okay.
We need the chapter books. Those books tend to be more expensive than the lower reading level books, and that's what we're getting the most of. But yeah, we need it all. Anything anybody's willing to donate, we need it. But more like the chapter books, the higher level, the 5th grade, 4th grade.
Are you only accepting new books, or are you accepting
No.
gently used books?
Gently worn, new, anything. We'll take anything.
I think this is a wonderful project, and I want to thank you both for coming on the show today to talk about it.
Thank you.
I hope to I keep walking past the box in Wood Hall, and it gets fuller and fuller every day, and so I hope to continue to see it grow.
I think it's wonderful that this instills a love for reading early on. Because I think that's so key to a lot of things in a student's life or a child's life. Sometimes they may not have those books accessible at home.
Definitely, and that's our goal, is to promote reading. Somebody that may not like reading because they struggle with it anyway, give them something interesting, and that might help and improve, get them to enjoy reading. So that's
This is
our goal.
a great project.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Heather, it's wonderful to see our students doing things to give back to the community, and they're young people themselves, so what a rich opportunity this is, and maybe a lifelong goal or something that they can carry on.
I think the same, and I love the fact that students are thinking beyond the classroom. Sometimes, especially in college, we get so wrapped up with this is the assignment that's due, this is the reading that's due, and to take the time and have that encouragement to look beyond the classroom at what can we do for others. I just love that there's so much focus. And you know, we're only talking to 2 different classes today, but there are so many groups that do that kind of outreach here at Rio.
There are, and they do it throughout the whole academic year, not just in the spring of the year. Different programs that are helping programs tend to do things to further their profession, whatever that might be and however that might be. And we have food drives and clothing drives. And I love to see our students getting involved with the community this way.
So do I. And now we get to hear about another project that's going on. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me, Dr. Duda and Dr. Mitchell.
Yes. We're happy you're here. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself to us?
Well, I'm Roger Miller. I am a social work major here at the University of Rio Grande. I'm from Oak Hill, and I'm a volunteer firefighter.
Oh. And why did you choose Rio?
As I said, I'm from Oak Hill, so it was local, and I'm family oriented, so I didn't want to really leave my family. So I thought that it was important to stay close to home, and so I chose Rio.
And why social work?
I chose social work because when I first started college, I wanted to be a mortician, and I kind of started here taking my generals, and I figured I wanted a 4-year degree, and social work appealed to me because I wanted to help people, so I chose social work.
Wonderful. And out of that social work curriculum came this class project. Can you tell us a little bit about the class and the project?
All right, this is for our macro class. The macro class is a senior class, and it's designed to help us work in the community and to teach us how to reach out to the community and do stuff on a macro level.
And who's your faculty member?
That would be Bonnie Dingus.
Can you explain, just in case someone out there occasionally confuses macro and micro, as I have been known to do on occasion, can you explain what is meant by, so when you say you're in a macro class, what are you doing?
Well, our system continuum size in social work is individual, family, group, organizations, and community. Micro is family, meso is family and groups, and macro is organizations and community.
Okay.
So this is geared more toward the larger societal scale.
Great.
Okay. And is your project a class project?
Yes, it is. There's 8 of us in the class, and this is one of the classes we have to take to get our degree. So.
And this project is required as a part of your class?
Yes, it is.
Tell us about your project.
Well, it is a craft supply drive, and we will be collecting supplies April 5th, 9 to 3 at the cafeteria. We're collecting crayons, paint, construction paper, markers, and scissors, things like that. It's going to be for Camp Courage, and Camp Courage is a camp for children that are going through grief. This allows them to have a day that they can tell their stories in like a safe environment, and it teaches them ways to process grief in healthy ways. They learn that they are not alone. As students experience, as children experience grief, they may feel that they are alone. So this allows them an opportunity to know that they're not alone, that there's other people facing these same struggles and these same things that's going on in their life.
So is Camp Courage a local camp?
It is. It's held at Canner's Cave. Every year it's held from, last year it was held 1 to 8.
So it's 1 day a week?
Yes,
Or just
it's one day a year.
One day a year.
Yes.
And did anyone in your class, how'd they come up with this or particular camp? Is somebody in your class connected to the camp, or did you go online, do research? How did you choose Camp Courage?
We have 2 students that are doing their placement at Holzer, and one of them found out about it through the woman that runs it.
Okay.
So we had a list of originally about 10 projects, and we lowered it down to 2, and this one wound up being the winner.
And I'd like to just make sure that I understand the specifics of the projects. So you are collecting items that will then be used to create crafts at camp.
Yes, ma'am.
And can you run through that list one more time?
The list is crayons, paint, construction paper, markers, scissors. It's really anything that'll work in crafts.
When you mention paint, watercolor predominantly, acrylics, does it matter? Just kind of bring in water. I'm thinking water's probably easier to clean up.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Okay.
When I hear you talk about this, I actually did some work with grieving children in my doctoral program, and it sounds like this might be an art therapy project.
No, this is actually a camp that combines the traditional camping with also grief management and not really counseling, but it adds emotional support and education about grief.
So will their projects revolve around putting things on paper related to that grief, like pictures or
It can, but it's also just a chance for them to express themselves.
whatever way they'd like?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is your class taking away from this? So what would you say your long-term takeaway is from doing a project like this?
Our long-term takeaway would be that it gives us an opportunity to learn to reach out into the community, and it teaches us ways to collect items and to network with other agencies and to be a part of a larger societal system, and that it also gives us, like I've said, experience in doing this.
Have you faced any challenges in organizing your project?
I think the most challenge we've had was picking between the two. So that was the biggest one. But two, also, and two, it's where it's also partnered with Holzer. It's also, we have to see what they say that we can take, what we can't. And so they have a little bit of a say in it.
So will these supplies be delivered to Holzer and then Holzer delivers it to the camp?
We are planning to have the lady that is over it, Shelley, to come out and collect them from us here at the university.
If someone is not here on, I believe you said April 5th.
Yes.
If someone is not here on April 5th on campus, but they want to donate, how could they get the supplies to you all?
We have, at the bottom of our flyers that we'll be hanging up around campus, there's an email address. You could email it and we could pick it up from you then, or you could just drop it off or find one of us that's in the social work program in the class and we'll pick it up.
And I know the last group accepted monetary donations. Is that a possibility here, or does it have to be one of the art supplies that you're asking for?
We will accept monetary donations.
Okay, great. Now, I assume that the coordination that's needed to do a project like this is very similar to coordinating between organizations when you become a social worker. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. Because it gives us a chance to network with, in this case, Holzer, and then it shows us how to collaborate possibly with other agencies once we get out in our field. So it's a learning and growing opportunity for all of us.
I think it's nice that you've also learned that there's this resource in the community, because I'll be honest with you, I had no idea there was a Camp Courage.
Me neither.
It's the first I've heard of it.
And that's also our hope with this project is most of us in the class had never heard of Camp Courage before we started this project, and we're hoping that this is an opportunity that we can let people know about the camp, let them know what it's about, who it's for, and let the community know. And I have a little bit of information about the camp if you'd like me to share.
I'd like to
Yes,
learn more about
absolutely.
it.
All right. It's for ages 5 to 15. It combines traditional, as I've stated before, the traditional camp activities like bonfires and crafts, but it also combines it with the emotional and education, emotional support and education. And an important part is it's free to families. It's completely free.
Wow.
It enhances levels of hope and self-esteem, and they especially learn that they are not alone in this.
Do you know about how many kids will be participating? Do they have a cap of how many they can accept?
They are expecting to have a few more this year, but last year there was about 30 children.
Are they all from this area?
They are from most generally this area. They've said they have had children from Mason County and other local areas. So it's mostly local.
Is it sponsored by Holzer?
Holzer is in a way over it. To be a volunteer, you have to meet Holzer requirements. But, let's see, it's Shelley, the lady over it. She is a social worker for Holzer. And when she does this, they put together baskets and raffled baskets off. And that's what they used for their money to fund the camp.
Oh,
Okay.
So this would just help be able to fund it a little, but the crafts and stuff, that would alleviate one thing that they have to purchase for the camp.
And if a child decides to go, say, this summer, can they continue, or is it a one-time only?
Nope, they can go for the next 3 years if they want it.
Oh, wow.
that's wonderful.
There's no cap.
And to be free. I'm sure they probably meet friends there too and can make connections.
Correct. They meet friends, and they meet friends and make new connections with other people that's experiencing the same thing.
Which is a support system for the child.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes I think when dealing with grief, it's so important to have that support system for adults, and I'm sure children benefit from it at least as much, if not more.
And it's important to remember that every person grieves differently, and so does every child. They grieve on their own. So it's important to remember that maybe this is the one way that they're going to get their outlet. So it's kind of an important thing, in my opinion.
That's, I think, a really nice way to talk about and say the importance of a camp like this.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really happy that you learned about this camp and that you could provide us more information, because I do think it might be a camp that's not very well known.
And as I said before, it's not. Most of us never heard of it. So I'm hoping that by being on here today that people's heard about it, and then that they will know about the camp. And maybe if there's someone that they know that's a child that is experiencing this from the age of 5 to 15, maybe they could reach out and find out more about the camp and help them be able to go through this, because it happens in June, so it's actually coming up pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
So this project we're hoping goes well, and we can help them with this June.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so glad to learn about your project and the camp.
Thank you. I'm very honored that I could be on here and talk about it.
We appreciate that, and we know that we have a wonderful social work program here at the University of Rio Grande Community College. It's an accredited program. Students do very well on their exit exams, so you've made a good choice, and I think you're going to be doing some really wonderful things for your community and in your field of social work.
Thank you.
I agree. So again, just amazing work that's being done both here on campus and outside of campus by our students and the faculty and the staff and other folks that are supporting that work.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of University of Rio Grande's Voice of Rio.